move on to question number 4. In the Core CAZ, which, as I've said, is broadly the central activity zone set out in the UDP, offices can change to other commercial uses, subject to amenity considerations. And do you think that this approach should be taken in the newly extended areas of CAZ? So they're essentially Marylebone and Fitzrovia, Pimlico and Knightsbridge. At the moment, I was just going to say, at the moment in those areas, offices can only change to housing. They can't change to other commercial uses. So would the approach be that we would extend what we now apply to Core CAZ to those wider CAZ areas?
Can you just give people some idea as to what commercial uses you're talking about?
Say retail or
hotels, I guess,
yeah.
if the amenity considerations allow that sort of commercial use.
Did you want to?
Sorry,
yeah.
In relation to Marylebone, I'm not sure you're absolutely correct, and officers can correct me by all means, but it's my understanding that offices in the Harley Street Conservation Area could be changed to medical use.
In Harley Street, there is the special policy area where it does facilitate private medical facilities, yes.
Yes, what I'm saying is that what we were just told was it could only be changed from offices to residential unless it was special. Well, obviously it's an SPG, so therefore in Marylebone, we're talking about Marylebone, you're making mention of Marylebone before, and I have a special interest as the ward councillor, in that area we have that policy, and I would not like to see that policy disappear within the morass of everything else. That's my point.
I think equally all of the spas would be an exception to this, so all of the special policy areas.
And can I, whilst I've got the microphone, just get back to what you were saying before? Whilst I don't oppose offices in Marylebone per se, I think that we should take account of the fact that it is quite a residential area as well, and therefore any offices should not impact upon the residential amenity. In other words, if it's going to be a 24-hour office use, then I would oppose that on the grounds that you get light pollution, sound pollution, etc. But where it's a straightforward, what I could say 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever it may be, that would be possibly acceptable. But I think where you have a late night use, then that would not be acceptable because it would interfere with the residential amenity of those living in the area.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I think we just need to get, is there support for us extending that so that outside Core CAZ, if you had an office building, you could change it to another commercial use rather than being required to change it to residential? There's certainly a few nods of agreement here on that one. Okay, thank you. Is there any disagreement that it should only be allowed to be to housing? There's nothing recorded. Okay, that was very quick. Is there anything anybody wants to say generally about commercial uses within the central activity zone? And this is that wider central activity zone. Are there any general comments people wanted to raise at this stage?